Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Backyard Barbecue Podcast. I am your host, Eric Coolbreeze, and I got a guest for you all. I have been trying to get a man. I have been having all these women, and the guys was kind of jumping on me, man. When you gonna have us out? But don't nobody be
Available.
coming out. So, allow you to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm a local player named Joe. I'm just playing. Hardworking man, family man. Keep my ear to the ground because you never know what's going on these days. So I'm just happy to be here. Been knowing your wife for a little while. And I remember when y'all were building this, and I asked, I'm like, what y'all putting back in? She said, a podcast. And I was like, yo, I got to be on, And then I just so happened to see her like a couple weeks ago. And because she ain't been ordering nothing, because usually she orders stuff, all the furniture I delivered.
We trying to recoup. We trying to recoup.
Right, so I'm like, she was at the store, and I'm like, man, what's up? She was like, she gave me, I gave her my number. You hit me, and now I'm here. So
Okay.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, glad to have you out. I'm always looking for. I get a lot of female perspectives about stuff,
Right.
different topics. It's almost like I'm thinking right now, like I got a bunch of different little questions to ask to go along with some topics that I talked about before.
Right.
You from Chicago?
From the West Side, born and raised.
Okay.
But I grew up, born and raised. Then, we did the Jeffersons, moved on up because my father worked for UPS as a kid. So went and got a house built out in Joliet. So I finished my 6th, 7th, 8th grade in high school in Joliet. So.
Okay, yeah. Hey, he got the paper, y'all. If y'all need a loan, hey, he got it for you. So I guess we'll jump right into a few different topics.
Let's go.
So I actually have been debating about having this. I always tell everybody when I do these podcasts, it's not only about you all, it's also about me.
Right.
So as I go through different life journeys and situations, I don't want to just, always ask you all about what's going on with you. Tell me about your experience,
Right.
Like I'm also candid to put my experiences out there also.
Okay.
So recently I had a situation with a close friend. We've been friends about 8 years. I mean, dude was like my brother.
Right.
I'm only child, so
Okay.
he's probably the closest thing that I've had to
a brother.
Somewhere along the lines last year, just fell out. Like I didn't even know what had happened. I had seen him recently about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we have a lot of mutual friends. So I would see him at a lot of different events, and he would always speak, and I would speak, but I really just didn't want to because I had been reaching out to this dude, like trying to find out what's going on. And finally, I just gave him some space. I was like, well, maybe he going through something and he ain't got time to talk about it. Okay, cool. So I see him at a picnic because we both went to the same school.
Okay.
So again, a lot of mutual friends.
Right.
So I just pulled him to the side because I had been sipping a little bit, and I was like, I'm tired of speaking to this nigga, and he just, because he'll speak to me, and see, I'm the type of person, I'm cool. Like if we not, me and you friends, and you going through something, I ain't got to, you ain't got to speak to me if you're going through something. I'm cool.
Right.
Go ahead and handle what you got to handle. I'll be here when you get done. But every time I would see him, he'd be, what up, man? What up? And I'm like, I'm just tired of kind of dealing with this phony shit. So I said, I finally addressed him. And, from a man-to-man perspective, I had told him before the way that it went down, I was like, man, you kind of hurt my feelings, bro.
Right.
Now, me telling you this as a man, that's a need for you to address me, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because men just don't be telling other men, hey, man, you hurt my feelings.
No, we don't.
Right.
No, we don't.
So that's almost like a 911 situation, like, hey.
Especially if you my mans.
Exactly.
I had a situation like that with my best friend where I was dating a friend and he was dating the other friend, and we been friends way before we met them, and, you know, and they came in messy, you know, just being messy and toxic, and it caused a division in between us, and I had ended up having a son, and for a while we just didn't talk.
Okay.
You know, I seen him every day. We just didn't talk to each other, didn't make eye contact or nothing. And when I came in at work, and he said, "Man, congratulations." And when he said that, I knew then. I said, "This my man's.
Right.
This he 100 because
Right.
you ain't have to, because I know I done told a couple
Right.
people like, man, forget dude.
Right.
And if I see him, I'ma chin check him, you know.
Hey, and that's how it was. Like, people would be asking because it was like, you know, I play pool.
Right.
I love playing pool. My goal is to make it out to the Vegas by the time I get 45.
Okay.
I'm 42 now. I got 3 years of practicing. If y'all shoot pool and whatever, y'all hit me up, you know, we can meet wherever. I don't even care about you whooping me.
That's a dying, like, entity, because the pool halls is like, you got to go way yonder now to play pool, unless you got one at the crib. But
I just got one at the house. And but you still, you know, I still go out and play because you still want to refine your game with other, you know, people. It's like having a basketball court at your house, but you ain't playing nobody.
You ain't playing nobody.
So, yeah, you know, everybody would see, hey, you know, like, where your boy at? What Ron at? And I'm gonna say the nigga name because, you know, hey, if y'all know me, then y'all know who Ron is.
Right.
That's how I feel about it right now. So I'm like, man, I don't know where yet. You know, like, we, you know.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What broke the ice?
Me.
Okay.
I broke the ice because I was tired of the situation, you know, just, I'm not familiar with how to be phony. So to me, us speaking or you speaking to me knowing things ain't cool like that, you know, on your end, because I felt like he was down at one point in time, you know, and I ain't gonna put none of his personal business out there, but I felt like he was down, and I told him, like, hey, I'm gonna pick you up, you know, get you some lunch, we, you know, shoot some pool later on, you know, whatever you want to do, you know, it's on me. The day we were supposed to head went out, and I called him the day before.
Okay.
Said, hey, you know, I'm come by, swing by and get you. All right. I gave him time to get up because he worked nights, you know. Called him. I said, hey, you ready? For what? I said, you know, we're supposed to do lunch, you know. Oh, I just ate. I'm about to take a nap. I'm like, all right then, bro. I'm like, did you forget we were supposed to be?
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. So I'm like, all right, man, you know. So that just continued to, you know, he's also, now, him and Candace was friends before me and him.
Okay.
They've been friends because although we all went to the same high school, I'm older than him. And so me and Candace was in school together, but I wasn't in school when he was in school.
Okay.
And so they were friends first. They've been friends since high school. But he also wasn't talking to her. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on then, you know. And so I broke the ice, like I said, a few weeks ago. And, you know, we had some good
you broke the ice recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I said. You know, like, this is real life right here.
Oh, this is good tea right here, Doc.
Yeah. So this was about 3 weeks ago, you know, and I pulled him to the side and said, man, I'm just not good at, you know, like, you have taught me a lot of things, you know, because as, you know, those of you who watch the show, you know, I don't hide it. I've been to prison, you know, and there was a lot that I had to learn about being an adult male when I got out.
Okay.
You know, and I felt like the people that were brought into my life at that time, like, they helped to mold me into who I am now. And I viewed him as one of those people.
Okay.
And, you know, I said, you know, you taught me a lot about brotherhood, about keeping it real, but you didn't teach me about how to be phony.
Right.
And so I don't know how long this lesson will take, but if you could teach me real quick before we leave, that's cool, because I feel like I'm being phony with you right now. You know what I'm saying? Just casually saying, hey, what up, man? Like, it's all good.
Right.
Like, that bothers me. Now, maybe if you would have called me 20 years ago, that wouldn't have been a problem.
And with fake, phony people, things can escalate.
Yeah.
to a whole different degree. Mm-hmm. So it's good that men, especially in today's time, have an outlet. Like that was a big point for you to say, "Hey man, I got a problem."
Right. And that's why I wanted to voice this also because with me, I drive and I'm out on the road all week, driving through the country 10, 11 hours a day.
Right.
So I have a lot of time to think and a lot of time to process. And just recently, I was at a men's event, and it was supposed to be men only,
Okay.
And after about an hour or two, one of the guys was like, "Hey, man, we need to call the women," and we all laughed, and since he had already called his girl, and then everybody else was like, "All right, we
Right.
called." In the aftermath, when I was thinking about it, I was like, there's a big disconnect in communication among men.
Yeah.
That we have a problem with just discussing things that have to do with our growth as men, especially as black men, things that we are going through, because for so long we've been given a stigma that you just keep going.
Right.
We don't talk about that. You a man. And so.
And that's been the blueprint for probably 70, 80 years for black men.
Right. And so I feel like a lot of what we experience nowadays, even with these younger generation of men, we ask why they're so off of if this is the line that we're going on, we ask why they're over here, why they're so far removed from where we should be.
Right.
But even in the aftermath of me thinking about what happened in that room and thinking back at the different age groups, there was so much opportunity there to have conversations between some of the baby boomer generations, our generation, and I feel like there's a mutual feed on it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we can still learn from them, but also vice versa.
Yes.
Because
I believe that.
Yeah, because of the mentality. I say this a lot on here, but it's absolutely true. I'm a firm believer and speaker on the effects of slavery, and a lot of their thinking, the way that they think, is a direct result of, like they have. I was just having a conversation with my father, and he's always been, get you a good job, benefits, you retire after 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, that ain't necessarily, I'm not necessarily trying to be someplace for 30, 40 years, but he won't understand that concept because that's what they were taught coming here. They was taught that it was a privilege pretty much to get you a good railroad job, a good industrial job, and you
times
work
were
here.
different.
Yeah. And they were happy just not to be slaves anymore.
They were happy not to be slaves, and then they were happy to actually be kinda on the same playing field as white folks.
Because they thought they could catch up.
Right.
But they was already here, and they was just putting us there. So, yeah, but back on the friendship thing, it taught me a few different things, this situation. Now, the ending part of this is that I texted him and told him that I understood. I was hoping that our conversation at the picnic was going to lead to another conversation.
Okay.
Because I did leave off at the picnic and said, hey, let's talk later on. I'm interested in still having our friendship, especially since I don't know really why we stopped talking anyway.
Okay.
So he said, okay, cool. We shook it up. Man hug. Boom, we gone. So I had waited, a few weeks. And I was like, for me, I'm an energy-based person. So I hold a lot in terms of energy, whether it's positive or negative. But I try to get the negative off me really quick.
Right.
And so I was thinking about it like all the last 3-4 weeks. Like, man, when is he gonna call? you know, like, and so I finally just texted him. I said, you know, I thought that we were going to be able to salvage the friendship that we had.
Let me ask you this then. Do you feel that because how you and your wife are moving, how y'all are climaxing, do you feel he looks at that?
I considered that, and that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up in the line of communication, because a lot of times, so I'm 42. You what?
I'm 40. I just turned
Okay,
40.
so you 40, but same age group.
Right.
We're at a point where our a lot of our views are beginning to change.
Yes.
Things that, you know, we thought was important is not that important. Things that we didn't know is important is now important.
Right.
And it's just that phase of life. And so one of the things about friendship and relationships, because when you, truth be told, and inside of male to male friendships and female to female, those are relationships.
Yeah.
Like, they hurt just as much.
Oh, yeah.
When they're like breakups.
When me and my boy went,
Yeah.
I was hurt. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna sit here, especially because I tell people all the time, I hate for somebody to lie on me. I don't need help.
Right.
I don't need help you lying.
Right.
I can tell
I can
a
do
lie.
that
I can do
myself.
bad
Yeah.
by myself, you know. So when that situation happened and his girl lied on me and we quit talking for a little, that hurt.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as a man, both of us should have been able to sit down like we sitting there, hey, my man, Blase Skippy. Well, no, I didn't say that. This is what I said. Or,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? And so when you say communication, that is key in any relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid, my mama say, don't touch the stove. It's hot. Don't touch it.
Right.
But your curiosity said, let me touch it.
Yeah.
So once I got burned, I understood why she said, don't touch it no more. So
Now,
communication is big in
Now-
any relationship.
and to answer your question, so I went that direction because the problem with lack of communication is it causes you to think like things the church saying like
It's
the
an idle mind
is
is
the
a
devil
terrible.
play.
Yes, sir.
So when by you not communicating with me, I'm thinking all type of stuff in my
Yeah.
head. Like, okay, like I wonder if you know, because I was at a place at one point in time where I wasn't making that much money. You know, I was in the you know, I have a union job, so it was kind
Right.
of like a progression thing.
Yes, sir.
And I was a little, you know, I was tight, you know, and he had me. So, you know, when it was time for me to be that friend to him, I'm like, I want to have him, you
Right.
know, like he had me, like I was his brother. And so I began to think all type of things. Like, man, I wonder if, you know, like, man, you know, I didn't got to this point, like, is he jealous? You know, like, I'm like, nah, he won't be jealous. But then I don't know.
You don't know.
Then, you know, like, man, you know, me and Candace, we've been married 6 years now. Like, wonder is he mad about that? You know,
Right.
I don't know. So it leaves, the lack of communication leaves so many
So much
variables
wrong.
for
Leaves so
me
many
to
wrong.
think. And it had got to the point where, because although, you know, it probably doesn't happen as much with us in terms of our emotions start playing, but then, you know, I'm like, man, this nigga just left me, like, you know, like on the side of the road, you know, I
Right.
felt like I was like a little brother, and, you know, he went in the store and then didn't come back out, and I'm like, man,
So I can
where he
understand
at?
your point because my situation versus yours, me and my buddy, we knew why we weren't talking. Mm-hmm. And that put a whole different log on the fire. You know what I'm saying? We knew why we weren't talking. In that scenario, that's crazy because your mind gonna always be like, first of all, what I do, I've been a good brother to you.
Right.
I ain't said nothing behind your back. You know,
Yeah.
if you need something, I'm gonna hit you. You know what I'm saying? From what you saying, that seems like to me that he's looking at your life, what you got going on, and you know, I need to fall back.
Right. And again,
I could be wrong.
And we both could. You know, he stated a couple of situations that, you know, bothered him, and I'm like, but that's just, you know.
Me and my best friend, we got this little thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
We be at work, we be on the phone. He might say something that I don't like.
Yeah.
Or I might say something he don't like. We cuss each other out.
Right.
But you know, at the end of the day, hey man, we still going to the spot tonight? Yeah, bro, we go.
Exactly.
That's how friendship should work. I'm too now at, like you say, at a certain age, I realize I'm not holding no more grudges.
Yeah, no, because it's too short, you know. And see, I have a different my viewpoint and tolerance level are on a different plane. You know, I lost my mom 6 years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
And you know, when you lose your mom, it's like probably one of the toughest, you know, moments that you go through. You know, the person that literally brought you into this world that you knew before.
See, I'm a daddy's boy outside.
Yeah, before you knew anybody. You
Right.
know? And so, and my mom was young. You know, she was 62. You know, had ovarian cancer.
Oh.
You know, and it was 3 months after we got married. You know.
Okay.
And then a year and a half after that, then she lost her mom. You know. And then it was like, dang, you know, because I'm like, man, you know, I got a mother-in-law, you know, I got a little mother figure, you know.
Right.
And then, you know, she passed. And then, you know, her grandmother died would be 2 years this coming November. And, you know, me and her were close. So it was like, and those are just on the surface. Like since I've been back to Chicago in 2011, I've probably lost 20 people that was family
Really
and
significant.
friends. Yeah. And so for me, it's like I said something to him because I'm like, it's too much time that went by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in my line of work, I see accidents every day. Like
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5
Yeah.
times a day, you know, driving down the highways. But I also know, not that I'm wishing it, but that could be me at any point in time. And guess what? It don't even have to be that. I know people that just didn't wake up in the morning. Like I know a guy that was doing a fitness show and he had a heart attack in his sleep and died. I mean, fit and everything.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I don't want to spend time wasting time about nothing. You know, like we could talk about it, you know. In my book, I ain't kill your kid, I ain't kill your mama. We should be able to work it out.
Right. No, you're right.
You know, unless it's something major, it's nothing that somebody could tell me that, you know, like, nah, you crossed the line on that. You know, like, I mean, you know, there's some other man code things
Right.
that you could do, but none of those was broken. So it's like, hey, you know, like, what's the problem? So my wife had a friend also in a kind of similar situation. And it just really made me, you know, really realize what she was going through at the time because it had never happened to me before.
Okay.
And, but it also turned another page to why some people can't have successful relationships.
True.
Especially among men. Because, see, if you my boy and I say, hey, Joe, or you tell me, I got a problem with you, and I can't talk to you, how can... Men are some of the easiest, man to man, we're some of the easiest conversationalists that's around.
Right.
So if you can't have a conversation as a man with another man and resolve your issues.
I saw my father. Shout out to Mr. Darren F. Osborne. I saw my father with his friends coming up to the point where, like I said, they'll cuss each other out, but I'm talking about bad. Mm-hmm. But 10 minutes later, you would not know that they was just arguing. And I'm like, wow. So seeing that as a kid for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's how with my friends. I'm talking about whenever they needed something, they was always there for each other. They respected each other's wives. Mm-hmm. You know, the ones that were married. You know, the other ones couldn't come in between that. or they wouldn't let the wives come in between their friendship.
Right.
What I saw from them is probably 70% of the man I am today. And you need,
And that's
I think,
how it's supposed to be. Like you can have and for all of you who might be tuning in for the first time, this is why the podcast is called what it's called. I was explaining to Joe earlier. Here, we can have our debates.
Yeah.
We can get on here right now and talk about some topics that you probably don't agree with, and I'm probably might get on your nerves and you get mad. But before we walk out this door, hey, we're gonna shake hands and we're gonna be all good.
yes, sir.
And that's what happens at our barbecues. We talk about all type of stuff, but we gonna be good at the end of the day. And that's where I think a lot of friendships and relationships has failed nowadays, because we can't have healthy conversations about uncomfortable topics, and that's why I have this platform, because I want all the uncomfortable topics to be brought to attention.
I don't think society wants us to be.
That's true.
I remember being in school and getting into a few fights with people. They used to have a class, or like you get into a fight with somebody, it was something called peer mediation, where a counselor or somebody sat in between us, and you and me, we hashed out our differences.
Right.
That's gone now.
Yeah.
They don't have that. So how can a child work
Yeah.
out their problems and then they grow up that way? Because we living in the era now where everybody working.
Yeah.
Who raising the kids? Mm-hmm. So what they see on TV, what they got their tablet, their phone in their hand, that's social media is raising our children now.
That's true.
So I really tell people, you can't complain, because a lot of us choose to, like, I believe in a two-headed household, mother and father. I don't care what that's. You get some people that'll say, you're a boss this, but yeah, your children are losing. Show me in today's time where the single household is winning.
Right.
We got more murders. We got more abortions. We got more pregnancies. We got more kids dropping out of school. We got more kids on drugs. We got more kids just doing ridiculous stuff. Like, we'd have never been out here doing the stuff that they doing right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that comes from society not holding the kids accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if it's a situation where it wasn't possible for the two people to stay together, a lot in our community, and probably especially among the males, and again, I want everybody to listen to this to know that I'm always transparent, even with mine. Like,
Right.
At a certain point, I wasn't mature enough to have.
Yeah, we was kids.
Yeah, to have a relationship that only evolved around the raising of my son, with their mothers, and that's very important,
Yeah. Because at 40, I realized, and TD Jakes has you go on YouTube, it's called Daddy Daughter Conversation. Just YouTube it. And he said that I was getting to know myself while I had you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we was kids, and once you had a kid, now you got to figure out, like, your job, where you're gonna live, and how you gonna take care of this child. And I'm not saying run from the problem. I'm not saying.
Let's add one more to that. How to still do what my rest of my friends is doing that ain't got a kid. Because see, me, my oldest son, I had him. I got married at 19, going on 20, and he came along at 20, going into 21.
Okay, I think that's a good age.
And I felt like I could have waited a lot longer.
I think that's a good age. Because I don't want to be the, I ain't gonna say the race, but some people had kids in they late 40s, and then when they get older, them kids smacking them around. No.
Yeah. I mean, that's a different culture too.
Yeah.
But, like I tell, like my son now is 21, and I said, "Hey man, I'm proud of you right now, because
I just told my son that
you
the other
doing
day.
better than me right now." and you know, he's starting to mature. You know, we did have to put him out because he needed to be out on his own. And now that he's gone, like it's the best relationship,
Right.
You know, but I was like that with my father as well. Like, we already didn't talk that much, but we talked a little bit more once I moved out. You know, our relationship was better. But I personally believe about 26, 27, 28, like, hey, because at 21, like my 21-year-old mind was just thinking like, I'm married, like with a kid,
Okay.
you know, and all of my friends, they were kind of like turning, you know, 21 around the same time, and they kicking it because I'm the only one with a kid, me and one of our other friends, and you know, he wasn't married or nothing, so he was still free, you know,
Okay.
because 9 out of 10 times the mom is taking care of the kid. But all I could think about was how I could get out there, like with them, like I'm missing something, like I'm laid up here with her, and you know I got a crying baby, and you know it's just to add to that list,
Right.
You know that
Yeah, no,
it's-
you're right.
Is that other factor?
Because I remember my oldest son, when I was dating his mom, I think he was about 2 or 3. And I wanted to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And she started to fight with me so that I couldn't go out. And so I understand what you're saying, because it's like you got to have that balance.
It's still some situations with people that be fighting with that at 30, 40.
Yeah.
Where you going? No, you gotta stay here.
Not tonight.
Right.
Get your black ass down. I'm going out with the fellas.
And if not tonight, then what night?
Lord knows.
Right.
Lord,
Maybe never night.
never night. Or you got to get on her nerves. Hey, you don't want to go out with James? No, man, bye.
Man.
You know? So
So speaking of relationships, what's your status?
I'm actually single.
Okay.
I'm actually single. It's
Like-
hard in today's time, man. It's hard. You know, I was talking to this one girl. I thought she was the one. Well, as far as me pursuing her, I was gonna do it, pursue her. And she said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "I'm looking for a wife." Man, hands down, she said, "Good luck with that." And I feel bad in today's time that people, society has taught us to be baby mama, baby daddy before you're a husband or a wife. Like, tell you the truth, baby mama, baby daddy category, there's a lot of drama coming between with that title.
Yeah.
I tell people, they say, that's Heather baby daddy. I said, no, I'm Joe's father. It's a difference.
Now, me personally, I have never referred to. I've always just said my son's mother. You know, like
But that's a high regard, and you respect her.
Well, one of them I don't, but the other one, you know,
We got them.
we cool, but,
Yeah.
You know, that's just. I just never liked the term.
It doesn't suit.
You know what I think about every time I hear it is that song. Like, that's just my baby daddy. That's just
That or Fantasia. It's a badge of honor to be a baby mama. No, it ain't. Like, you got girls out here right now that is cool and content with being a baby mama instead of being a wife. Like, I would rather I got a daughter. She's 19. I don't want her to be no baby mama.
Right.
I want her to be a wife, then a mother. Because when that man give you his name, everything on the table.
So, the focal question that has been in this room.
Hit me with it.
I've had some on the other segment with Tasha's T. She's single in terms of well, she's in a relationship, but she's not married.
Okay. But that's still single.
Right.
And if you're not married, you're single. Yes. If you're not married, you're single.
Hey, fella, tighten up, fella. You know. But we were talking about sex as it pertains to or premarital sex.
Okay.
And she was like, "Well, I'm celibate. You know, I've explained that to him. Blah blah blah." My take, you know, I was like, "Hey, good for you." You know, like I can't just go and buy a bag of grapes and not see if they good. Like I need to taste it and see if it's good. So what?
Well, my thing
you
is,
stand on that?
Well, I stand on that is, if she were a virgin, I would abide by those rules.
Okay.
But I'm not finna buy a used car and not test drive it.
That's all I was saying. I got a segment. Matter of fact, I made some clips about it.
So I come back on, and me and her can I argue that for you.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Do you buy a house and not walk through and look at anything?
You know what my argument was? I said, hey, you got these women out here that done had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and now you like I'm celibate.
You celibate. You heard Kevin Samuels, you need to get that stuff away.
Man, and that's what I said. You know, like, hey, excuse my French to you is already out there on the internet, but I'm like, hey, that pussy been pussy, and you need to go ahead and get it, like, hey, first day you want to try it before we keep going, type, and not literally, maybe some of you all do, but I'm just not about to be like, I hit a homeboy and he had me cracking up. It's a chick that we know, and she was married, and she got a divorce. Now, the whole time that she was married, the husband or ex-husband had them staying in the hood.
Okay.
So, he like, he trying to pull up, now that she's single. And she like, well, I need my man to do this, and this. And he's like, whoa, you asked Buddy to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, don't ask me to take you from the projects into Homewood Flossmoor. Especially if you haven't put yourself in Homewood Flossmoor or Beverly Hills, wherever it might be. Like, you can't expect, especially if I roll up on you, you got 4 kids. Hey, if we get a second date,
right?
That's good progress right there. After we done went to a second date, it's almost like that's an automatic.
Right.
Like you got to be at the point where I'm okay with giving this thing out because I just told him I got 4 kids, and he asked me out on the second date. Now, I talked to another person, one of my close friends. She was on here. Shout out to you, Nidra, Nick's little kid. And she was like, well, it depends on how you're looking at this. She said, because if you're at a point where you're just not into wasting any time and tying up your life with multiple people that's not going to give you nothing, then at some point in time, you have to put some parameters on what you're doing,
But my problem with that, no, because when she say put some parameters, a lot of times, in today's time, it happens a lot that you want to have your freedom all the way up until you get old. Do what you want to do, and now you want to slow down. That's like when the state trooper see you on the highway and you speed. Now you hit your brakes. It's like he done caught you. Why'd you slow it down for?
Right, he already.
Don't hit your brakes now.
Right. You got a better chance to keep going at the same speed.
You got a better chance. Anybody to know at night when you driving, don't hit your brakes when you pass state trooper. When you hit them brakes,
hey,
that's
how alert.
Yeah, that's an indication that you was speed.
Yeah. Because I see it all the time. I'm on the highway all day, y'all. And then, I'm going to get off topic for 5 seconds. When y'all see the police, stop just slamming on your brakes. Like, or if you okay, if you got insurance, your license is okay.
Well, a little ticket ain't going to hurt.
It's okay if you pass them. Like, I pass them all the time.
Yeah.
They going lower than the speed limit. It's not a law for me. It's not against the law for me to pass them. Just, a few good pointers for problems that I have on the road every day. So, back to the pussy. Now.
And that's what Usher say that's what it's made for. So, like, I understand you got a time frame, and I'll be willing But to just tell me I ain't like we ain't virgins. Now, like I said, if we was virgins, we all right, cool.
And see, that's where my problem came in. I asked them, I'm like, well, what happens? Because this is gonna be a concern of mine. Like you said, you don't just go buy a used car.
You go test
By
drive.
looking under the hood,
All
opening
that.
the door. That's like just going there and pointing out, boom, give me that one. You know, like no. I mean, you test drive new cars.
Yeah.
You know, but a used one, I need to know. You might not be compatible with me on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's gonna be a big thing later on. You know, not later on, immediately.
Immediately.
You know, that thing ain't what you told me it was.
Because I had an ex where my buddy, I mean, why you get rid of her? And I had to be honest. I was like, all the problems she had, the coochie wasn't good enough for me to keep her. Just like a woman. If you ain't slanging that thing and you got all them problems, she gonna get rid of you.
And see, that's the problem that I have with, and I hate to say this because I know this is part of your community, but that's the problem that I have with a lot of church people is that. So their answers with me was, well, I know that the Lord is gonna send me exactly what I want.
I'm finna clear that up. Let me explain something to you. The Lord don't send nobody to nobody.
I've been trying to tell people this.
Because
Bring it on home now. It's on a Sunday.
the Bible said, man that finds a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord, which means that I have to look. So you got to interpret it, and, dissect the text.
Right.
So I have to look. But that also means that the woman is something about that woman that makes me want to marry her as soon as I see her. Like, that's going to be my wife. You know, there got to be something about her. You know,
because love at first sight
it's true.
but it does not pertain to the woman, in my opinion.
I'm with you on it. It pertains to the man.
That phrase came from a man because we see you all.
Yeah.
You know, like we come in the room, it don't matter where we at, ladies. Come in the room, you look around the room as a man, boom, 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 boom. Like we have probably the fastest eye visual, eye parameter situation going on. You know, and our brain picks it up. I mean, the next time you're in a bar or whatever, you just sit there and you look as a man walks into the room. He walks into the room, he looks, he stands there for a hot 10 seconds, looks around, and he already knows where he wants to sit at.
Right.
Because he knows out of 50 women that's in here, the one that he want to get their attention. So if she over there, hey, I'm gonna sit over here just so she'll be in good eyesight for me. I can see her, she can see me. And she could see me looking at her.
So, and my other point to that, you can ask anybody and see how they answer this. If God sent them to you, when you break up and when you divorce, that means God was wrong.
Hey, I'm with that too. You know.
And God ain't never wrong.
I'm with that too. You know. Because, and I'm not the most religious person, so you know my viewpoints on God and all of that are, you know, somewhat different. But what I do know is that whoever is the higher deity gave us common sense.
Yes. Yes.
And the reason you give tools to people, like they say, you feed a man. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day.
Yeah.
But you teach him how to fish, then you feed
for
him for a lifetime. Whoever it is, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whoever you believe in, they gave you common sense. They didn't want you to have to depend on them for every decision.
Right.
And when you do all the other things, and that's my other thing, is don't just pick and choose what you say you're going to allow God to do for you. Like, oh, the Lord is going to send me, a husband. Yeah. And for you super saints out there, this is off the dating topic, but for all you super saints out there that don't have jobs and you believing that the guy is going to send you a job, you need to fill out some applications.
I agree with that.
You know, and, you know, hey.
Because it has to be action with your prayer.
Yeah. You know,
It has to be some action. You can't ask.
They just not going to call you.
Yeah.
You ain't never in the history of mankind heard of somebody, and if you know somebody, please send me the video or the audio tape of anybody that went to church and on Sunday evening, Sunday morning, they gave testimony, like, I didn't fill out no applications, and somebody just came to my door and said, we want to hire you at our job.
Now, you know somebody gonna lie. You know somebody gonna say the Lord did it for me. You know somebody gonna lie. But
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Like, it got to be some
that
action.
Just don't happen like that.
Got to be some action. So
Saints. But, you know, I don't know. You know, me personally, if you, for you super saints, if y'all practicing celibacy, more power to you. But I'm going to tell you one thing, is that considering the things that we just said as men, 9 out of 10 times, and if you're waiting, you know, Lord going to send me the right one, tell you a couple of things. One, you might be waiting for a little bit. You might turn to Sarah. 2, men ain't really just trying to wait like that.
No.
You know, especially with, like he said, like Joe said, hey, if you're a virgin, we have probably a lot more respect.
I'm gonna be.
But if you got a kid or 2 or plus that, you're not about to be waiting for that, you know, high mileage coochie.
I got over 200,000 on that boy.
I don't care that you've been using synthetic oil.
You know what I'm saying?
We're not waiting for that, because guess what? It's other women, and I know y'all women gonna say, "Well, go get them," but they giving it out. So, what makes you so special? And you know, I'm a God-fearing woman. I cook, I clean. Stop putting that into your arsenal also, because men, we can cook, and if we don't cook, guess what? We know how to order food.
Yeah.
We're going to eat. You ain't never known no man that got a job not to eat. The niggas that don't have jobs know how to eat.
Yeah.
Kind of something to eat. Cleaning, 9 out of 10 times, if you're single, you might not have that much shit in your house anyway. So it ain't nothing to clean no way. You know?
And now you can pay people.
Yeah.
They got served. You can pay people.
Give me something of substance that, besides something that, I mean, all these things I can do for myself. It's the same thing that y'all tell us.
And the one thing I feel like a lot of women fail in relationships today, one thing you should bring to the table is peace.
That part.
I should not have to come home. The careers we have, dealing with what we deal with on a day in and day out basis. Mm-hmm. When I come home, I shouldn't have to box.
Man.
The house. I shouldn't have to. I should be able to come home and relax. You know, I don't care who do what. I'll rub your feet, rub my shoulders, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I shouldn't have to come home. Come on, man. And life is already hard.
Yeah, if you're wondering why he's sitting in the car for 2 hours before
I didn't understand.
That's why.
Why on movies, men went to the bar before they went home until I got married. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand. Then like 3 years into that, I was like, I need a drink.
Yeah. You get off work and you have no peace at home. I remember. Yeah. Now, I've been married 3 times.
Okay.
This has been the longest that I've been married. Longest I've been in any relationship has been with Candace. 8 years running now. But I remember being married one of the other 2 times. I ain't gonna say which one, but one of the other 2 times. And every time that she would come in the room and shut the door, like, I'd be like, what is it now?
Here we go again.
Sometimes she was just going to get dressed.
Okay.
But just to let.
But you had your guard up.
But see, it was like a mental scar.
Yeah.
You know, when the door closed, we need to talk. You know, and so every time that door shut, I was triggered. Like, what is it now? So that taught me something that I carry on even to today. Like, we don't have serious conversations that might evolve, even though we don't really argue like that. We don't have conversations that might evolve into arguments at home.
Okay.
Because when you get home, there's supposed to be peace. You know what I'm saying?
And that is a terrific understanding and blueprint that you and her have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people today is so toxic.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you how to calm that toxic down with that same principle that I gave you. See, now some of this might not apply to some of you because some of you will act the fool out in public. But most people won't act the fool out in public. So when you got serious conversations, hey, go have dinner somewhere and go have it. And if you don't have a problem, if you feel like you might be right on the edge of not caring about acting like a fool,
right,
go to a nice, quiet restaurant.
Yeah.
Have that serious conversation there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start, you know, they got the music playing, they got a little dude with the cello, you know, and it's a mood that's set right there.
Right.
9 out of 10 times, they have already set the mood for you going in there. So when you walk in, before you all even have conversation, it had already calmed you down. And, you know, people are dressed a little different. You gonna feel stupid about acting a certain type of way in this type of environment.
Right.
So you go to something like that. That's if you're right on the edge of being toxic and being locked up. Now, if you're in the medium range, then you could just go to, you know, your Applebee's, you know, or whatever, you know, go to a little bar. Me and Candace have had excellent conversations at sports bars, and we've had them with other people. Like, you know, we'll bring up a situation during a with other people around, you know, because also how we operate is we don't. Sometimes everything don't need to be resolved right then.
No, I don't.
And if you learn how to operate at a mature level where you can put something on the back burner and still, you know, go ahead with life and come back to it, your coming back to it later might give you some better insight. And you done calm your nerves, you know. And like in our case, hey, we get the opinion of some other people sometimes. And hey, maybe we agree and maybe we don't. But we know that if we don't, it's still okay. You know? Like what we said with men.
My man Mike Singletary said this when he was coaching the 49ers. When he benched the running back. Remember they say, well, why you ain't do this and that and the other? He said, I can't do it, I ain't gonna do it, and I won't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's my motto. It took 40 years.
Yeah.
But that's my motto. I'm not finna argue with you no more. I'm not finna sit up here and because my image is important. And I think a lot of people in today's time don't look at their image. When I die, I want to be able, my grandkids to say he was a good granddaddy. I want my kids to say he was a good father. Most of all, I want my wife to say he was a good husband. You know what I mean? I want my church to say he was a good pastor or he was a good preacher. My image is important, so you can't. How we do that? You're right. I've done that. I had my ex. We were talking about what was the coach for the Boston that got fired for sleeping with the white lady?
Oh,
Ume Adoka.
Yeah.
So we was talking about that, and she was like, "That's what he get." I said, "Hold it, it's a foul on the play,
right?
Because it was 2."
Yeah.
So I said, "You mean to tell me that the woman shouldn't get exposed like how he got exposed?"
Yeah.
Now, fellas, y'all listening? If a woman only looks at it in that way, she ain't gonna care about you later on.
No.
If she laughed when Kevin Samuels died, that ain't the woman you want to be with.
Right.
To me personally, I can't talk to no woman that ain't got God in their life. Because if you don't care about God, you damn sure ain't gonna care about me.
Right. Yeah. And see, my thing is like like Candace, she always says, you got to believe in something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really a one of the last things that my mom told me was, she said, you know, as I laid in this bed for the last 30 days, and my mom was a Jehovah's Witness, and she was like, you know, at the end of the day, just thinking about it, like I spent practically my entire life just doing this, you know, standing on these corners, passing out these magazines, blah, blah, blah. She said, but you know, what I realized last week is that all religions have one thing in common, and they're all based upon one thing: death. And if we knew exactly where we were going when we died, then religion wouldn't even exist. Because we guesstimate based on things that we've been taught, you know, but truth is that nobody has ever went in death and came back and said, hey, this is what it is. Do this because I'm here. And so what I want you to do is be good by people. You know, be good by people. I always thought I would tell you, go to the hall, get yourself right with Jehovah, but do good by people and, you know, do the things that you want to do.
Okay.
And so for me, you know, I need somebody that cares about yourself in a sense.
Okay.
Like, because when you care about yourself, and that's part of the kind of divert and then come back a little bit, so I'll go here and then come back there. The problem that I have with the woman that says that she's honoring her body and she's saving herself for this man, well, honor your body all the way around. Because if I see you don't eat nothing but fast food and you 275 pounds and you 5'4",
right,
you can't tell me that it's just your vagina that you're honoring.
Yeah, that's
because
like people.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to take your car to the mechanic and say, I haven't changed the oil, but I've been washing the windows every day faithfully since I got the car.
Right, so it shouldn't be do that.
Right.
So it's like people that, I don't eat pork. And do you know how much every piece of candy
Yeah.
that you gonna consume has
Got
pork in it?
That gum that you chewing on right now
got pork in it.
in it.
So I totally agree with you on that, because now when it comes to, I was born and raised in church. I bleed church. You can't, like my ex tried to get me to leave church early. No, I'm not. If I do so much wrong all week, I'm serving God all day Sunday. You know what I mean? It's just so today I didn't have 2 services.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you can't. My daughter had similar views how you feel about religion, and I told her one day, I said, baby girl, listen, in order for you to know God is real, you got to give him a try. And I said, long as, if you give him a try, if you don't feel nothing, I said, then I digress myself. I won't ask you to come to church and do anything else for that. But
And what I can say personally is that I feel like I gave it a try, you know, and I have my own. But see, one thing about me is that I will never sit on here or even outside of here and try to convince you of my beliefs and why you should believe what I believe.
okay,
At the end of the day, whatever keeps you from, when you get in a bad position, if you lose your job, if whoever you serve keeps you from kicking my door down in the middle of the night,
He said,
try
"Do
to hurt
that."
my family,
He said,
then
"Do that."
I'm all with it.
Right.
See, I know I'm very familiar with a lot of religions, you know, at least on the mainstream. You know, people don't know there's like over 500 religions on the face of the earth.
Right.
But some of the major ones I'm very familiar with. Like I've read the Quran, I've read the Holy Scriptures, I read the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible, the Seventh-day Adventist Bible, all of them. You know, I'm very familiar with it. But I also know how to be a friend to you and whatever your belief is without me having to be in that place. Meaning that if you're a Muslim, I don't need to be a Muslim when you get down to ask you, well, what does the Quran say about that?
Right.
Because that's what you believe in, and as your friend, I need to encourage you in whatever it is that you believe in that's making you be a better person. And so to me, that's the test of true, friendship and relationships, when you're able to do things outside of the box that you don't necessarily have to believe in. See, we get caught up on what I believe in, and I can't do that for you because I don't believe in that.
Right.
That's not friendship or relationship. Candace knows how I feel about religion, although our views are totally different. She respects me and I respect her, and we have conversations about religion all the time.
Okay.
And we've never gotten into it about it. It's just, like she'll ask me, like, what you think about this? And I'll tell her. And, sometimes she'll be like, that's a good point, And sometimes I don't believe, I don't get that.
You definitely have to. I commend y'all for that, because a lot of times some people would lose their mind, and the Bible even says that even if you marry someone who's not a believer, you ain't even supposed to divorce them.
Right.
You're supposed to keep having that conversation that y'all have, because at the end of the day, to me,
without a word,
love wins.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what nobody, the love of music, the love of your family, the love of whatever your passion is, love wins. Mm-hmm. That's why we got, when you look at what's going on in our streets just in Chicago, these cats love to live like that. Yeah. So they'll continue doing it because they love that life. Yeah. So I commend y'all for that. That is because you don't see that too many in our era. Mm-hmm. We ain't got grandmama and granddaddy that love. They went through a lot.
And and that's why I believe in being also transparent. Like I said in the beginning, I don't just want y'all to come on here and tell me y'all life. Like, I'm gonna tell you my ups and downs, my struggles.
Yeah, because
on
when you said prison, I would have that didn't fit you. You don't look like what you've been through. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't look like.
Had you seen me 15 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, he was there. Yep. But that's life. Like. And
life is nothing but hills and valleys.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you get in the valley and you're on your way back up, how you coming up?
And I'll give you the perfect analogy to cut the end. The segment is that sometimes, like when I'm out on the road, you'll come. Like I might be driving through like Wyoming or something.
Okay.
And you will be bright in the sunshine, and then literally you go over a hill and come back down, and it's a storm. I mean, full-blown
storm, yeah.
And it's just that much of a divide. Like, the hill separates the storm from the sunshine. And in life, sometimes that's how life be. Like, there's just one small gap.
I'm finna preach that. The hill separates the storm.
There's just one small gap that separates us from who we could have been or was into who we are now.
Yes, sir.
And hey, I'm just that, and I'm transparent about that because I don't want nobody to think that I don't even want to be friends with nobody that ain't never been through nothing.
Yeah, because I was telling my son, because he 18. Me and his mama had a rough, I paid him child support. my 4 days a month, every other weekend. Ladies, I can't teach my son how to be a man 4 days out the month.
Yeah.
Y'all need to stop doing that.
Yeah, we'll have a segment about that.
Yeah. So we talking, and he begins to open up to me, and I'm telling him how proud I am of him, and the things that I wanted him to do, what I wanted to mold him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, granted, me and your mother's attitudes got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say that because I get a little emotional because it's my man's.
Hey,
I've been through a lot for him.
You haven't been here through the whole ride. Hey, this is again the barbecue. So,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
I tell everybody, I just didn't say it on this segment. I said we might cry a few tears on this motherfucker. We have some laughs,
Yeah,
do everything, but it's all good. People need to know the real people at their realest. You know what I'm saying? And this is what this platform is for. So
yeah, it's life. Yeah, I was teaching them life has its ups and downs. And I said, as a man, I was trying to teach this to him and get it in his head, like, son, to me, a bad parent is not a parent that can't afford things. It's not a parent that don't show you discipline. A bad parent to me is that when I die, if you can't function, meaning you can't pay your bills, you can't take care of your kids, you end up homeless, you always begging, I failed as a parent.
Mm.
And that's what a lot of people have failed in today's time, is where you're trying to be your kid's friend and you can't do that, number one. Then number two, you're not thinking about for the day that you not going to be here.
Yeah, my dad was firm on that. His mom died when he was 8. And he always was like, man, it's going to be a day when I'm not going to be here.
Yeah. My Uncle Jimmy, my cousin, when his father died, I wanted to fight him. Because when his father died, he never cried at the funeral once. And I'm talking about, I'm boo-hooing. This is one of my favorite uncles. I'm boo-hooing like it's my dad. And I look and he ain't crying. At the graveyard, I'm like, hey, cuz, riddle me this. I said, why you ain't cried not one time, bro? What's going on? He said, cuz, every moment I spent with my father from the time I was 12 to now, he prepared me for this day. He said, son, I ain't always going to be here.
Yep.
And when I say I looked at him, and ever since then, I tell my boys, hey, I'm not going to always be here. Because my uncle, he died at 48. He wasn't old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never know. You might not wake up tomorrow.
Hey.
But what did you do today?
Yeah. Hey. And I'm going to wrap it on up with that. Y'all have a good rest of y'all Sunday. I'll see you back. Hopefully we're going to have Joe back again.
Yes,
we're gonna
sir.
have some more bigger round table discussions with the ladies.
Yeah, because I want some women in here because I like to argue the men points.
Yeah. we going to make it happen. I just have been waiting for it. And hey, some more fellas out there, hit me up. Y'all inbox me. Brain freeze. Email me. Backyard Barbecue Podcast. No, I'm sorry. Cool Breeze at Backyard Barbecue Podcast.
Okay.
All right. Well, y'all carry on. Have a good week, and we will